Hello?
Yeah, I can hear. I can
Yes,
see that.
sir. Only maybe there
History of
are
Lithuria,
And URSL, sir.
there is
URSL.
Yes,
that there is that filling defect, and the meatus is also little not properly delineated. Thanks.
You can see in the soft tissue that the penis seems to be beyond, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
That arrow is going, that's the glans penis is, just go around, you can see that soft tissue.
Infant.
That catheter, there's a feeding tube which has been inserted
yes, sir.
well inside. So we're presuming that the meatus is all right, it has gone inside. And there are some multiple filling defects. Whether this is one of them may be air or they may not be. We don't know what sort of filling defect it is. And then there's a lot of irregular, or the urethra, anterior urethra is distensible, but there's a lot of irregularity as we move more proximally. And then at the level of the penoscrotal junction, there is narrowing and dilatation. So there's multiple areas of constriction and narrowing.
Yes.
And leading into a very tight mid-bulbar stricture, I mean distal bulbar and encroaching onto the mid-bulbar segment.
Yes, yes, sir.
The bulbar cone is not very well visualized or filled, so you can't comment on that.
Yeah, probably there is the loss, curvature is also lost, no, sir? Yeah, of the bulb.
Yeah, it's a normal, nice curvature, so that's why.
Auric film.
What is a meatus like? Do you have any idea whether he's got BXO or no?
No
It
BX,
is
sir.
pinched, sir. It is
So
image of the fin.
whether in view of the fact that this guy has had instrumentation,
Yes.
we have no details about that URS that was done. Whether this stricture was noted at the time of the URS.
No, sir, it was done actually at an outside hospital, and he was
Correct.
not told that there is any narrowing in the urethra at that time.
That time he was not told.
Not told.
So it was a URSL, and it's possible that this may have been caused by urethral instrumentation. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't rule that out. Although, I mean, this degree of traumatization of the urethral mucosa can only result in blind introduction of any instrument. I don't know whether anybody is actually putting a cystoscope blind into somebody's urethra. Everybody is using either an integrative sheath or an operator to examine the urethra and go in. So
This is one more film, sir.
this says, yes, this shows the voiding study showing that the stricture area is very tight. And although the lumen is patent, but the stricture area is tight, and there is a sort of a halo around that stricture.
Yeah.
Little bit of a halo around that stricture, and suggesting that this is extravasation because this is a voiding.
Yeah.
And there's some extravasation into the spongiosum. This would have been a good case to do a sonourethrogram to actually assess that particular segment.
So this dilatation of the bulbar urethra, which is, I think it's quite large, no, sir, the diameter.
No, I think it's okay. I mean, we see these dilatations of the bulbar urethra. It just shows that because it is capacious, the bulbar urethra is capacious, and it just indicates that the stricture is very tight, and you can see that the whole of the urethra is distended. He can't be a very old person. There is some degree of, you can't see the bladder neck clearly in this profile, but just looking at this voiding study, you get the impression whether there is some degree of shouldering at the level of the bladder neck in some of these patients. It's not clearly seen. It's just that there's some degree of overriding and overlapping. So that's why.
There's one more film, sir.
Show another film.
Here also there is some amount of shouldering seen, sir.
Yes, now you can see the bladder neck quite clearly now, and that's funneling. One would have expected a little bit. If it was shouldering, then I would expect much more concentric narrowing at that bladder neck. So I would say that this is a normal bladder neck at this point. And you can see this.
Okay.
But you just go back on that X-ray. Just go back on that X-ray. Another interesting finding there. You see, in the voiding study, you see the urethra is splitting. The contrast is splitting into two streams.
Streams.
More proximally.
Yeah. In
No,
the-
no, more proximal. One stream going on top and one down. And then it's all entering into the bulbar urethra. Whereas in the next film, you can see that extravasation little bit better here. You can see that into the spongiosum.
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
Yeah, you see a little bit more. So this stricture is actually quite long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite a long stricture there, and there's a narrowing also beyond that. So even if you do any form of urethroplasty, you must be sure that you are going to get into normal urethra, both distally and proximally.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is where some people will say methylene blue staining might be of help, so you can identify the normal and the abnormal areas clearly.
Also, the proximal part or the pinoscrotal junction also is narrow in.
Yes, it is. It is.
Or two,
You
three.
see that on the RGU.
Yeah.
You can very clearly see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, this is a 40-year-old man with history of acute urinary retention. He presented with retention and he had history of VIU 3 years ago, sir.
Ah.
Uh,
So there was a stricture already.
yes, sir.
If he's had a history of VIU 3 years ago, he's had a stricture, and this is a mid-bulbar stricture. It's a mid-bulbar stricture. So
A narrow stricture, very narrow.
very narrow stricture, irregularity of the urethra proximally,
Yeah.
and not much of dilatation of the bulbar urethra, and the absence of the bulbar cone, which is probably because of underfilling.
Yes.
Might also indicate that this stricture may be tight, but if it was so tight, I would have expected some intravasation into the veins, etc. But obviously, the lumen is there. But let's go on to the next one.
Sir, this is the MCU of the same previous patient, sir.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Again, shows a very tight stricture.
Yes, sir.
So this is
Okay,
the
now listen, this is a good X-ray. Just
Yes.
enlarge it a bit, please.
enlarged amount.
Ah,
Sir, he is a
Right.
48-year-old man
Yeah.
with history of Fournier's gangrene 5 years ago. And after that, he has underwent debridement, and following that, 2 times he has underwent VIU, 3 years back and 2 years back. And
Hmm.
after that, he again continued with LUTs, and since 6 months he is having LUTs, and this was the imaging.
Well, for somebody who's had Fournier's gangrene of the scrotum,
Yes.
he's got a reasonably spared anterior urethra,
Yes.
but a very tight bulbar urethra. You can see that there is an area of extravasation into the bulb. Then there's a bit of extravasation into possibly a small false passage, which is going into the spongy tissue.
Yes.
What is more important here is not to miss the fact that the Cowper's gland is now being opacified. That is not the seminal vesicle.
Okay.
That is the Cowper's gland. If you trace it downwards, you will see that it's opening into the bulbar urethra. That is where the Cowper's gland is.
Opening.
Seminal vesicles will be highlighted if you see it at the level of the veru.
Yes.
All right, the veru is in the center.
Yes.
So people, this is the Cowper's gland, and they are seen exactly over the bone like this because they are in between the two layers. The Cowper's gland anatomically is between the two layers of the perineal membrane.
Huh.
Superficial and deep perineal membrane houses, according to Gray's anatomy, the Cowper's gland, and the duct of the Cowper's gland opens into the bulbar urethra, proximal bulbar urethra.
Okay.
And occasionally you will be able to see it like this.
Okay.
Seminal vesicle is much larger in shape and its location is a bit higher.
Okay.
It's a bit more horizontal, and I think you can actually see from the distance a little negative shadow, which may be the Vermontanum.
This one.
And then you know that the bladder neck is higher up because you see the jet of contrast going inside the bladder.
Yes.
The other thing is within the bladder, just come down a bit. Within the bladder, I think you are seeing blotches contrast, and this may suggest that this is a very thick walled bladder or an enlarged bladder, or even a bladder with some small diverticulae, because there's blotches of contrast in some areas, whereas the rest of the bladder is not fully opacified. So either a large bladder and contrast is getting diluted, or this blotchiness would suggest that whether there's some diverticulation also here.
Yes.
But it needs to be filled more to outline that. It's just something that you see on this.
Sir, he is a 50-year-old man with no history of any previous surgical procedures or any interventions, and he had LUTS since 4 months, and he had presented to us with retention, sir.
Yes.
This is not seen. Yeah?
No trauma at all. Eh?
No, sir, no trauma.
So we do see this sometimes in patients who have no trauma, a total occlusion, totally obliterative stricture.
Yes.
A totally obliterative stricture. And you see that this is the bulbar urethra is intact, but the bulbar cone is not seen at all and is replaced by a nubbin of tissue which is totally occluded, and no contrast is going beyond. There is a reasonable amount of force being used to inject because urethra is very well distended, and it's got its normal, possibly 8 millimeters size. So I think this is a totally obstructed urethra, and whether this patient has had some instrumentation in the past to have caused this sudden thing. Because to get a total occlusion in an inflammatory stricture is a very unusual event. There's usually some passage.
Yes.
So this is important, that sometimes in inflammatory and non-traumatic strictures, you can get a total occlusion. And when you see the voiding, you can see that the posterior urethra is dilated. And again, there is no contrast going into the urethra. I think that contrast which is there seen in the urethra is from the previous RGU, retained contrast. I don't think there is any contrast going, except that it's going outside. Whatever little voiding, there is some extravasation outside. And I don't think it's filling the proximal urethra. I mean, sorry, the distal urethra. And also there is no reflux, but the bladder is definitely trabeculated, and there's possibly mucosal edema as well. And you can see the SPC tube inside too. You see that the length of the stricture is actually, you're not sure. If it is non-traumatic, non-traumatic stricture, it is probably better to do some form of substitution. And this looks as though it will be a long substitution from the x-rays and everything else. Of course, it's worthwhile doing a opposing urethrogram. You can do a voiding as well as this and see what the distance is. Because if you looked at the original RGU, it looked as though it was a very short stricture.
Yes, sir.
Because what you can't go back to the RGU. Go back to the RGU, and if you draw a horizontal line across the tip, mark it there, and then look at and see where it cuts the pubic bone. Here, and look at the voiding study. Go back on the voiding study. Enlarge it a bit. And now draw a line across the horizontal. And you see that it probably cuts at a very short distance from the rest. So this may be a very short, tight stricture of the urethra. Yes. But what is important to remember is when you're doing urethroplasty, since there is no history of trauma, you can't just go blindly and divide it. You need to open the urethra dorsally, make sure that you know what it is, and then if necessary, if you're sure enough that you've got the two ends nicely, then some people might even do an end-to-end for this patient, and some people might actually put a double face graft. That means there will be a dorsal inlay and a ventral onlay.
Yes.
or a dorsal onlay and a ventral inlay, whichever one is convenient. So there will be a urethral lumen. If it is a very short stricture and the rest of the urethra is fine, this patient may even be a candidate for a non-transecting. But I wouldn't straight away jump to that. I will assess and then decide which is the most appropriate in such a patient. But it's a very short, tight stricture, and you can see that sometimes an inflammation also. Right.
Meatus is seen properly everywhere.
Yeah, in the RGU it looked all right from what I could see.
Because here it looks a bit narrow, but maybe.
I don't know whether that is because they pinched it nicely. You can see the contrast through that. And they put the whole cannula or something inside there.
There, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This whole thing is the cannula there.
Yeah.
And the cannula is entering the penis here because you see the fossa navicularis widening out there.
Okay.
This is a 40-year-old man who was presented with retention of urine, sir, and he has a history of VIU 3 years back. And this is the imaging, sir.
Well, again, it's something like the first case you showed that there is already an existing stricture. It must have been a very tight, and he had an EIU, had some good voiding for a few months to years, and then again.
This patient has history of lithuria, sir, and no history of any intervention done in past. He is a 50-year-old male, and he has presented with LUTS, sir.
Again, a smooth tapering of the proximal bulb. If this was a normal urethra, then there is no business for the cone not to be visualized. The cone, I like the cone to be a little bit more open,
Yes.
This seems to be narrow and then going tapering in.
Yes.
So whether there is actually a small ring stricture, come down a bit, come down to, the arrow, sorry, the mouse arrow. Yes, at that point, it looks as though there may be a narrowing.
Yes.
If there was a normal bulbar cone, then this whole urethra would have been widened right up to the apex and come right up to the point there. So the whole thing would have been wide. Whereas here, it is wide up to that point and then narrows down immediately. Narrow. So I think that.